So people are still, of course, they still are going through these Epstein files. And I talked about it here a bunch of times. I always said that, yeah, I went through all the same shit like 10 years ago. I haven't really seen anything new. There was one new thing. Oh, some of that stuff with the beef jerky, I don't remember that being in there. Well, I don't remember reading that part. I'm pretty sure it's just adrenalized body parts, you know. The blood is adrenalized, and it just seems like your body parts for the way they talk about them. It's a minor thing, though, compared to what else is in there. But I did see something I don't remember seeing before. This is on Instagram. A guy had made a short or reel. It might have been YouTube, because YouTube has those shorts, too, like the TikTok-style shorts. And it was Stephen Colbert with a missing child. And they showed them, like, the kid, and then they showed his missing, like, posters and his name and age, and we're trying to find little Leon, whatever, he looked like a little Latino boy. And then it would cut to, it would juxtapose those pictures and show them with him and Colbert together. And Colbert and him had, like, this weird makeup on, and they're standing in front of, like, an art, it looks like a painting or something of squares, like this weird design, and they kind of have clothes that are the same way. It's just some weird out there thing. And he's singing with them. He's singing with the kid. Looks really strange. It was just in there. I don't remember seeing that, because I know Colbert is a good friend of John Podesta, like they're really tight. And but yet I've never seen them together outside of some photos that, you know, they have, you can find on the internet anywhere, where Podesta went on a show and stuff. And if you notice, Colbert is another one of those guys that has a lot of dead family members around him. You know, when people within the beast system want to move to the next level, whether it's get to be the new host of the Tonight Show or whatever, they have to sacrifice or find someone that they sacrifice. Years ago, I was made privy to this thing. I don't know how often it's used or who uses it, or maybe it's just a certain group within. But what you do is you make a list of people that you would be fine with sacrificing. And, you know, they're close friends, family, people. And and what they do is when they get one of these people, when they have to use them for sacrifice, it's kind of a way to distance the person from the event. They just pick someone out on the list. You don't know who it's going to be. You don't know how it's going to happen. It's just, could be an ex-girlfriend, could be a brother, could be a something. You just find out they died, in a fucking shark attack or whatever. Or was that Kelsey Grammer? Either Colbert or Grammer, who also has a lot of bodies around him, had someone die in their family of a shark attack. Yeah, a lot of these famous Hollywood people, they have like a stack of bodies behind them. The big ones. Because when you want to move to the next level, it requires a blood sacrifice. And they actually do use the power of that sacrifice, like the energy they get from that, to then put back into the magic. Because they can't make any of this stuff organically, because they're not divine beings. They're quite the opposite. They don't have the energies that we have. They fucking suck the energies off us. So when they want to do something or give the energy to some, or momentum to something, they need to have bodies. Now, I think, and this is just me, a lot of the stuff that they tell these Hollywood people, like, all right, you want to be a host of Tonight Show, we're going to have to get 2 people on your list. You're going to lose 2 people off that list. Now, the Hollywood thing, you would think, all right, he wants to be a Tonight Show host. They don't really have to cast a spell for that, right? They could just kind of do that with a few phone calls or work it out between the business people. They'll have, over bagels or something. And so it's like, that doesn't require... So what I think happens a lot of times, and whether the talent knows this or not, is they get the kills, right? But then they use that energy on themselves for something they want to do. Because like, oh wow, you want to be, you want to be in this movie? Fuck, it's going to take 2 bodies or one important one. I'm sure they had tiers of like, lower tier, guy I went to high school with. Higher tier, my mom, you know. So I'm sure there's some kind of equation that they do when they decide how big of a sacrifice you need. And yeah, I think they'll tell them like, oh yeah, that'll take two mid bodies, but then they don't need that to power any kind of spells to get him that slot. They just do it themselves, and they keep those, and they use those two bodies for stuff they want. Ultimately, I guess it doesn't really matter. I think it's just maybe a way for them to put a little bit of distance between them using your loved ones and them not using your loved ones. Maybe it cuts back on the resentment there. There's all kinds of weird little things I picked up over the years that they do and they don't do. And the whole thing about like blackmail, you know, like you may have heard the stories where someone new in Hollywood, they like sort of jumped in with, you know, you go to a party and that night they have, you know, a certain amount of people they're sponsoring, like they'll be like 10 new actors that come to town, and all of them get jumped in that night, or the beginning of being jumped in by committing some kind of act on film, and they have the camera set up and everything. They're fucking Hollywood, because, you know, Hollywood people. But I think a lot of times it's not so much that it's for blackmail. It's more like the people that are pledging want to be in the group. And it's almost like they want to have this event filmed for their own shit. Like, it's like, they're not looking at it like, oh, I have to film this blackmail for them now. They want to do it to be part of the group. At least that's, you know, a possibility. Another possibility. They're gonna tell you something odd I saw too. I was watching a documentary on 12 Monkeys, Terry Gilliam movie. It was like his first kind of movie that he was kind of quote unquote selling out and going Hollywood. It wasn't a story he wrote, he was just directing, but he wanted to, you know, add his vision to it. Great movie, you know. And in the middle of the movie, he's having a really hard time. He's having a hard time. He says what tends to happen to him is he takes on the traits of his protagonist in every movie he does. Like if they act a certain way or they're rude to people, he becomes rude. Oh, something along those lines. He takes on the attributes of the main character. And so with this movie, 12 Monkeys, it was a character named Cole who was having mental health issues that were brought on by moving through time. I guess it makes you kind of fucking crazy. It affects your brain some way. And he was having trouble figuring out what was real and what was not. And Terry kind of started losing the plot. No pun intended. He was like spending time on this minutia and kind of was losing sight of what the fucking movie was. He wasn't saying this. Other people were saying this about him. His producers who were working on it with him. And then in the middle of all this, like, you know, bad time for him while filming the movie, he even went to the money men and said, hey, I think you might have to get someone else to finish this movie. He was really down in it. He got into it bad. He got out of it. But around that time, he comes to work one day, and he's got a big black eye on the left side of his face. A big black eye. He's like, yeah, I was horseback riding. Yeah, he said he was horseback riding. And he fell off the horse. And you know about the Black Eye Club, or you might have seen it. You know, that's why the eye symbolism is everywhere. To, you know, cover one eye, the eye at the pyramid. You know, and then they get all these celebrities and politicians and people of elite kind of status, or in their mind, or in their fucked up world, get these black eyes. And they always have a stupid story. Jay Leno had one recently. So I don't know if, like, he went to them and was like, look, I'm not going to make it through this. I have to go. And like, well, we can smooth all this over for you, but you got to do something, you know? So I don't know if it was related to the bad time he was having or whatever. Maybe he did fall off a horse. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. And then after that point, when he got the black eye, everything worked out. It ran real smooth, and they made the movie they wanted to make. He didn't have to make any concessions. it ended up being a critical and commercial success. I saw it in the movie theaters, which is weird because, usually when I go to movie theaters, I'm going for like a big thing, like a Star Wars thing or Star Trek, some kind of thing that you should be in the movies for. Not, well, 12 Monkeys was a sci-fi thing too. Yeah, it was fucking great. I love that movie. That was awesome. Yeah, but I remember being in a theater for that. But anyway, point is, this black eye thing. Now, what it could possibly be is there are these beings that are called the Vril, V-R-I-L. They're related to the lizard people who we were talking about earlier today in the video I did before this. Now, I don't have a lot of information on them. There's guys out there on YouTube that could tell you a lot more about them than I could. I know they exist. I know they're out there somewhere. And, I've had experiences that I thought could have been them. I hear there's a lot on this island, whatever. But down where they live, there are these other little fucking bastards. And I saw these as a kid in my room. That's a whole nother story, though. I don't know if I want to get into it. Where they were glowing, like glow in the dark. And in my memory, I remembered them as crabs. Like, I remember being a kid and being like, oh, I had these crabs on my wall one day, and they walk around there. Years later, when I learned about the Vril and looked at them, I'm like, those were the fucking things that were in my room. It wasn't crabs, it was these things, because they kind of look like crabs. They have a proboscis that comes off their head, and they got these claws and shit. And they can talk and stuff. And the only real known photo that is actually them is Salvador Dali did a photo session where he has a corpse of one, and he's holding it up. I'm sure people at the time were probably like, what the fuck is that? And it looks like it looks like a rubber kind of alien, maybe fucking prop from a movie or something, but it's a Vril. He's holding up the Vril. I'll try to find it while I'm, this might be one of those no editing videos. I don't know, whatever. I'll put a link to it in the, because I'm going to be doing these no edit videos for like a couple more days. Because I got to wait till I get paid, because I'm going to get a year subscription to my video editing service. I know this doesn't matter to you, but usually every month I re-up. It's a pain in the ass. I got to pay like the $7.99, which is cheap. But the way it works, I don't use credit cards or debit cards. I do everything with Google. So when I re-up all these things that I have subscriptions to on the fucking phone, I gotta cancel the sub, then fucking re-subscribe. It's a pain in the balls. So this time I said, I'm just gonna wait till payday. I'm gonna pay for the year subscription, not do this every month. So anyway, so I'm not gonna be editing videos for a couple of days. It's maybe one of those, and if it is, and we don't have a picture of the fucking thing, and why, I am sorry, I just brought you on that whole fucking shaggy dog tale. For no reason, you didn't need to know that. Get my fucking shit together. But anyway, these things, what they do is they go into your eye, right? Their proboscis goes into your eye. Now, I've always heard it described as they go into. I don't think they crawl their whole bodies into it. They just puncture your eye with this proboscis, and what it does, it transfers them into the person's body. So they kind of take control of the body. I don't know for how long. I don't know when it wears off, when it doesn't. I don't know all those fucking things. But that's, from what I understand, what I've been told, from what I've picked up, is that's what causes the black eyes. And what they do is when they get into the body, they can then take the person's whole deal, essence, personality, and then they could store it. And that's where you have the thing about the cloning and stuff. They grow the bodies and then they use that stored. Somehow they do this, I don't know. They use technology that was in play long before we were around. I was talking about geneticists among the Egyptians. Osiris and Anubis, and they were geneticists, and they had some weirdo technology that they're able to rewrite genes. And I mean, even the minor, well, it's not minor, but even the simple things of looking at some of these buildings built in the 1800s, 1600s, and they got these intricate stonework, marble, all this impossible to do with not only what we know of the past to be, or what people had at that point, but impossible to do now with today's technology. So I mean, that's just like another, clue that they had some kind of crazy ass tech that they were able to do a lot of stuff. So I don't know. In the Jeffrey Epstein files, another new thing. He was having an email exchange with someone, and they were talking about something he did, like at a party or something, and the person said, "It reminds me of something your clone would do." And he's like, "Yeah, I know," and they're laughing about it. And I'm like, "Well, that's a weird thing. Like, I don't think that was a joke. I mean, it might have been between them, but I think they were referring to a fucking actual fucking clone." Because they've been able to do that for a long time. What was it, Dolly or the sheep? They admitted they cloned something of, 1990? They have technology that they slowly drip feed to us over time. And I wouldn't be surprised about any of the stuff they have. I don't take anything off the table, including the table. But yeah, that Colbert picture is kind of freaky. It's a video where he's like, with the kids singing some really gay song. I think it's like a Rihanna song or something. It was like a newer pop song. And they're into it. And he doesn't have a shirt on. He's got some weird makeup on and stuff. Freaks, man. I've been walking around with this stuff in my head for 10 years. When Pizzagate came out, I learned all this stuff. I think that's what helps to make me the kind of fucking, individual I am. And then try to explain it to people, try to tell people and have them laugh at you, because they think you sound like a nut. So it's good to see everybody else being traumatized by this shit. Everybody can share in the pain. I don't know what it'll do. Like we've seen like that guy in the Atlanta airport like freaking out on people, just having a spaz out going, You're having a regular day, you're all getting on a plane, you're acting like everything's fine. They're eating children. It's like, yeah. It's, again, like I say, it's the kind of shit that would make people want to stop paying their taxes, Because those are our rulers, those are the 1%, the people that move and shake the earth, or the realm. God, I hope there's nothing bad going on there. We get a lot of fires here, and a quick prayer here. Okay. You can make up your own prayers, You don't have to read them. Don't listen to Christians. You don't have to memorize things from them, but you can make up your own prayer. Put all the stuff you want into it. You can write it out. I mean, you can change it on the fly if you want. It's not like, it is magic in some way, but it's not as strict as some other magic things, like making constructs or doing sigils where you kind of have to do the same thing all the time and make sure you have it within the parameters that you yourself can set. But with prayer, you can kind of just fucking wing it, You can add whatever you want. You can do that. You can do a lot of stuff. Don't let them tell you have to do anything. You have to do this. If you fucking listen to them all the time, they'll tell you, you can't talk to God. That's fucking heresy, if you think you can. That's divination. You have to go to see a pedophile in a white dress and confess to him, your fucking sins while he fucking jocks off. Alright, I think this is taking a darker turn. It's time for me to go upstairs. Thanks for popping in. Hopefully see you guys soon. Till next time, don't blame the teacher, blame the school.